Thank you so much for joining me, Congressman Lewis. My first question to you is, can you tell me one of your most favorable or successful accomplishments that you're very proud of?
Well, I'm very proud of being the chief sponsor of the legislation to create the National African American Museum on the Mall. When I first got to Congress, I was a young man by the name of Mickey Leland from Houston, Texas, who invited me to become one of the sponsors. And he passed in a plane crash in Africa, and it was left up to me to move that legislation through. In some Congress, we would introduce it, pass it in the House, but we couldn't get it through the Senate because there was one senator by the name of Jesse Him from North Carolina who kept putting a hold on it. And I remember on one occasion, the Democratic leader of the Senate and the Republican leader of the Senate, Bob Dole and Senator Mitchell, came to me and said, "John, we don't have anything to trade Jesse." And we kept losing it. He didn't support the idea of a National African American Museum of History and Culture on the Mall. But we finally got it passed. And it is something to behold. It tells the story, the whole story, from the days of slavery to the present. I'm very proud of that. During the early years, before we got rid of earmarks, we became one of the chief sponsors of getting resources for our transportation system for MARTA. There was a young guy who was born in Selma, Alabama, and later moved to Miami, Florida, and he opened up a car dealership. His nickname was Used Car Bill, and he was chair of the subcommittee on transportation of the Appropriation Committee, and each time he would invite me to come and testify about the need about transport. So we don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day we will go back to that rule, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Okay, one other question. How different do you think the civil rights would have been had we had social media back in those days?
Oh yeah, if we had social media, it would have been a different world.
How so?
Well, I think things would have been simpler and easier to communicate. You can do things in a matter of seconds.
Yes.
In terms of just organizing a sit-in. But we made good use of what we had.
Absolutely.
I've said without the press and without music, the civil rights movement would have been like a bird without wings. But if we had social media, I don't know. In some places we didn't have telephone. We had party lines in some of these communities.
I remember those.
You have to wait till somebody else got off the line.
That's right.
But, we didn't have fax machine. We had the old mimeograph machine to do the leaflets and had somebody to go out and distribute it. And that's why the churches became so important for the mass meetings and the rallies.
Yes.
And beauty shop and barber shops.
Absolutely. So let me ask one last question. What piece of advice would you have for a young person that's starting their career and getting prepared for their lives today? What one piece of advice would you give to young people?
My advice to young people, find something that you can fall in love with doing and stay with it. And just go for it. be bold, be courageous. And so I'm going to do this. I'm going to see it to the end and fall in love with what you're doing. Let it be a calling.
That's right. Passion. Can you tell me what music you're dancing to today?
Well, you know the song that I like.
Happy.
Happy.
Love it.
I love Happy.
Love it.
And sometimes when I'm speaking around the country, there's some place that will introduce me and start playing Happy.
Yes.
And I was speaking to a group of, I think it was teachers or either a labor conference in Washington, people from all over America. And they start playing
I love watching you dance to that song.
Happy.
Yes.
And when I finished speaking, they started playing it. And I just walked off standing there and just dancing.
It's an awesome song.
I love music. I cannot carry a tune, but I love music.
You are a true inspiration, and I thank you so much.
Thank you.